her mom was her superhero. She was always there to protect her and always there to save the day. Reflecting back on this idea, maybe that wasn't the case. Her memories were so distorted they had created a fantasy. But as she falls into deep thought, there's this certain distinct memory where they were on top of the world together. Erratically, she steps into the car. She could remember taking this seemingly endless drive many times. There was such a thrill when told, "Let's go." It was like a gun going off signaling the start of something magical. No matter the circumstances, her mother always made sure her daughter had everything she needed. Music on, seatbelts buckled, moon high, they were off. Her mom played music that gently slid through your skin into your veins. It filled every ounce of silence. These songs were carefully selected, ones her mother had spent years collecting. There were songs that brought back memories, songs that had meaning, songs that she had fallen in love with over and over again every time she heard them. You could see the passion brought to her by the melodies as she stared out the window. You could hear it as she sang out the lyrics, and you could feel it in her movements. The girl absolutely loved watching her mother enjoy life like this. This is what she aspired to do. Adding to the captivating experience was a serene scenery. Although it was night, there were streetlights in passing towns and headlights that brought dim light to the tunnels of trees. There they were, on top of the world. The source of the road made out to be a long carnival ride. The moon always watched down on them as if protecting them. Sometimes they would stop on the side of the road and sit there staring at the sky, letting cars pass by. Rivers and lakes ran alongside of them, glistening in the moonlight. Windows down, you could feel a cool breeze of summer's air hit you so subtly, as if not trying to disturb your good time. At the end of the road was a house. A sigh escaped as they stopped in front, getting out of the car that she was never ready to get out of. They would go inside the house, say their hellos, then off to bed. But before falling asleep, her daughter thought about the drive. A longing set in, always to be back there. She loved that drive. She'd give her mom a hug, and as she watched her mom walk away, the last words she would always say were, "I love you."
My smile is fake, but whoever notices? No one. They never look at your eyes. They never notice the pain you're actually feeling. Why would anyone care about me? Does anyone even know who I am? I doubt it. I'm no one special. No one should even care about me. I'd make everyone's life better and easier. Easier if I just wasn't here anymore. Why would anyone care? Why would anyone cry? Back in October of 2013, I was a 14-year-old. I really liked this guy and he asked me for some inappropriate pictures of myself. And of course, not thinking, I sent some. Well, fast forward to December 3rd, 2013. I found out that the guy had sent those pictures and they're floating all around the schools. That's when it happened, the bullying. Everyone laughed and made fun of me for being ugly and fat. I remember going home and going to my room and just sleeping. I woke up later that day and checked my texts. An old friend of mine was making fun of me. Told them to leave me alone and I was going to kill myself. They didn't believe me. They egged me on to the point where I broke. I did it. That night, I overdosed. I told a friend and he stayed up with me all night to make sure I didn't sleep. I took a total of 96 pills, and 63 of them were sleeping pills. I went to school the next day. My pupils were taking over the full color in my eye. No one even noticed. Halfway through the school day, I was taken out of class. My mom had found the empty bottles and immediately took me to the hospital. I was taken to see if my stomach needed to be pumped, but it didn't. I sat there for hours. I fell asleep. My family, mad and disappointed with me. 3 years later, I wake up a different girl. A girl who is happier, a girl who is stronger, a girl with a bright smile, a girl who can brighten anyone's day. The other girl woke up and never wanted to be alive. She woke up and dreaded going to school. She felt ugly and she felt worthless. She was not half the person she is now. She is grateful for this experience. she realized that people only bully because they are afraid. They are afraid of themselves. They don't like who they are. They are insecure. They have been bullied, so they put their pain off on someone else. I had a terrible thing happen to me, but it made for a wonderful learning experience. I found who I am deep down from this journey.
It all began many years ago in a faraway land known to some as California. I was about a year and a half old when the incident occurred. For a lot of people, Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. In any other case, this would have been true. For me, it was the most traumatic place on earth. The events which occurred there still haunt me to this very day. We were in Adventureland. I was riding piggyback on my grandpa when it happened. My parents thought that since my favorite Disney story was The Jungle Book, that I would love to meet Baloo. Well, the person playing the bear managed to somehow sneak up on me and introduced himself right in my face. Wham! That was the incident. They say a young child's brain is susceptible to be more easily imprinted on by major events. I'm living proof of that. But the extremely young me quickly put it behind me. Fast forward 13 years, and intense intestinal pain was racking my body. My appendix was deciding that it wanted me dead. That was the trigger that kicked my traumatic experience into high gear. I was doing everything I could not to hyperventilate and worsen the situation. I thought I was going to die. Somehow, I pulled through the anxiety and lived on. A year and a half later, I was back at Disneyland. Great. By this time, I was sure of my deep-seated fear of mascots, or anyone in a giant costume. I avoided the jungle like the plague, but even that wouldn't save me from my anxiety. Again, my parents convinced me to do something extremely bad for my situation. Just for the record, Splash Mountain is not something that somebody with chronic anxiety should ride. That was my third traumatizing situation. After that, I was officially in a perpetual state of anxiety. I always checked over my shoulder, even when nothing's there. I always have at least 30 things happening in my train of thought at once. Even therapy hasn't helped much. Ultimately, this story may never end. It's not an easy life, but I move forward. Even though I may never truly be rid of anxiety altogether, I have ways of dealing with it, to a degree. The longer I stay in an environment, the easier it is to handle my anxiety. The more I dissociate myself, the more functional I can be. I'm not going to say it's better. I will never say it's better. Only less prominent, less controlling.
Since I was 12 years old, I've had medical problems that have only continued to get worse as I grow older. I've had medical problems before, but never as bad as this. Since I was so young when it first began, doctors never seemed to take me very seriously. They probably just thought I was being overdramatic because I was a kid. After waiting months to get into a rheumatology appointment at an office in Portland, we saw a doctor who only saw me for a few minutes. He showed me a chart, pressed on some pressure points, and asked if they hurt, and then just declared that it was fibromyalgia. He then told me that the only way it would get better was if I exercised and became more active on a regular basis. About a year ago, my condition got worse. I was in more pain than ever before. Everything hurt, and I didn't feel well enough to do much of anything. The middle knuckle on my right hand began to swell. It wasn't too bad at first, until it swelled to about the size of half a golf ball, and turned a horrible purple-red color. I couldn't move my fingers easily without a lot of pain. I couldn't even make a fist, or grip things properly. A lot of people began to suspect arthritis or lupus, while a couple of doctors thought I had a tendon problem called tenosynovitis. We know now that it isn't tenosynovitis, but it's still undiagnosed. Finding doctors that can see me and want to see me is really difficult, because I'm in that in-between stage of being a minor and an adult. Doctors for adults legally can't see me yet, and doctors for minors either don't want to see me, or it's just generally difficult to find them. About a month ago, after waiting a long time to get into another rheumatology appointment, we went back up to Portland. We were supposed to be seeing a female doctor, but they scheduled us on one of her off days to try and get us in sooner, and we instead ended up seeing the same man I saw when I was 12. He basically told us the same thing he told us 4 years ago, and said that all I needed to do was exercise, and it would improve. I had just recently gotten a dog to walk, and was taking regular exercise classes at the time, and I told him I had been exercising rather regularly for about a year now, which hasn't helped at all. I also recently started taking a medication that was supposed to help me, and even though I've been taking that regularly day and night for nearly a month now, nothing has improved. Recently, I went on a gluten-free diet, which has helped lower the inflammation in my body and helped me lose weight, which took some of the pressure off my body. I don't feel as horrible as I used to, but I still feel really terrible on a constant basis. I miss out on a lot of fun activities that I could do with my friends or by myself and don't get out much because of my pain. I don't want to miss out on life because I'm hurting so bad that I can't function. Having experienced all of this has made me realize that what I want to do with my life is become a pediatrician, either in general or for just rheumatology. Because I was never taken seriously, and I'm still not taken seriously, all because I'm a minor has inspired me and made me want to help other young people. I want to be able to have young people come to me with their problems and talk to me, so that I can listen to them and understand them so that they don't ever have to go through what I went through and I'm still going through.
To this very day, I am 18 years old, and I still fear the thought of this ever happening again. I cannot help but feel that because he did it, and because he chose me, he's going to do it to someone else. I also feel a strong need to protect other girls so that they don't go through the same thing I went through. Some days, people laugh at me and they call me a whore. I can confidently say that yes, this did happen to me, but I have become so much stronger because of it. If I had let my demons take control of me, I would have drowned a long time ago. I would have cut deep enough to make myself bleed out, but I didn't. Not only am I still here 2 years later, but I'm almost done with high school, and I'm going to be starting college soon. Every day when I get to school, I'm always greeted with smiles from everybody. If I was feeling horrible, someone would always be there to try and make me feel better about myself. No matter what the circumstances were, someone always had my back. For the longest time, I was bullied by others, but I had a friend that was tired of seeing me so upset, and she stood up to the bully. A lot of people have been there for me since day one, and I am very proud to say that the staff at College Hill are very welcoming and open-minded people. They see what I'm capable of and continually try to push me forward. Even though this terrible thing happened to me, and even if I wish I could change it, I actually wouldn't if I was given the chance. Because if this hadn't happened to me, then I wouldn't be the same person I am today. I would not be sitting here doing my schoolwork the same way I do it now. Sure, my life is hard, but it's not completely easy either. My life has always been a good balance of being easy and being hard.
In an instant, I was under the water, my sight was blurred from the sand, and I couldn't breathe. I came up for a split second to catch a breath, but was quickly taken underwater by a wave that rose 10 feet above my head even when I was standing up. Again, I was held underwater and my vision was cut off by the sand. I was being scratched up by the rough coral reef. I knew my best bet was to stop struggling and to just go limp, so I did. And soon enough, I returned to the surface and took the biggest, deepest breath of my life, then looked around to find my mother, who I knew was snorkeling in the same area where I was taken under. She was over on the shore gasping for air and choking on water. I quickly ran to her side and told her that we needed to get out of the water quick, so we did. The waves increasingly got worse. When I got on shore, I looked back and saw the other people who were getting attacked by the waves as well. My arms and legs stung from the salt water getting in the scratches. Even though I was in pain, I had a huge sense of relief knowing that I was out of the situation. And even though the incident happened, my trip to Hawaii was still amazing. Diversity was a huge thing while I was in Hawaii, not anything like Corvallis. Everyone in Hawaii looked different, and there was a lot of different ethnicity groups. I didn't feel out of place there. Everyone was so friendly, and they made you feel at home. Maui is one of the most low-key and down-the-earth kind of places I visited. Sometimes when you take a walk along the beach, all you can observe for miles and miles are the whooshing sounds of the ocean waves crashing on shore, the humid warm breeze, and maybe a couple of sea turtles lounging on the beach. I stayed in Kihei on Maui. It's really small there, and most everyone is local and knows each other. We went on the road to Hana. When you're in Hawaii, you gotta be ready for anything. And when I mean anything, I wear my swimsuit under my clothes every day because you never know when you're gonna want to jump into the ocean real quick. We went to one of Maui's notorious waterfalls called Twin Falls. And unlike most waterfalls in Maui, this was freshwater, meaning it was freezing. And by freezing, I mean teeth chattering, feel it to the bone cold. But I sucked it up and jumped in anyway. I got out right away though, because it was too cold to stay in any longer than a few minutes. The Garden of Eden was so gorgeous. I've never seen a eucalyptus tree in person before, and I always thought that people were joking when they told me it was rainbow colored. I thought they must have painted the tree because there is no way a tree was naturally colorful like that. They have roaming animals such as peacocks and ducks, but watch out for those ducks, they will try to bite you. It's 26 acres of pure trails. Everything I passed was infused with amazing vibrant colors, unique flowers, and rare trees. Another amazing place I went was the red sand beach and the black sand beach. It's crazy to think that sand could be any other color than white. The black sand beach is located just off the outskirts on the highway to Hana. It has natural stone arches, the largest known Hawaiian temple, ancient lava caves, and blowholes. It is known for a queen who had visited there and legends were made. Some might say it's a sacred place. The red sand beach is in Kahilulu. It's called the Secret Beach. The reason made it secret was that it was a hell of an adventure trying to get to it. We had to scale the side of a mountain on a rocky, rigid path that one false movement and not enough traction leads you to plummet to a rocky shoreline below. It's part of a crumbling red cinder cone, and the lava rock wall breaks the force of the waves before they can crash on the shore. This is a clothing-optional beach, so yes, there is naked people sometimes. But naked or drowning, Hawaii was still an amazing place to have experienced, and I plan to go back very soon.